deck, getting hit multiple times. Coming out of that bike section, more drivers coming to blows.
Well, hello and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back here to Slow Motion Broadcasting, and welcome back to the Formula V Weekend Warriors. This is the 12th and final round of this season, coming to you today from Brands Hatch. My name is Ron Maunz, and alongside me, working the comms and the cams, is Joshua Wilkie. Well, Joshua gets to round off this season in style with a blast from the past racetrack that I absolutely adore. The Brands Hatch circuit is so storied, so historic, and puts on some amazing racing as well. Here in these draft heavy Vs, it's still a tough nut to crack, but looking forward to this one.
Yeah, absolutely, Ron. Love Brands Hatch. Great way to end the season, in my opinion, here at this track. This is going to be a pretty good one. Not the hugest field out today, but this being a really tight track, pretty technical stuff out here, undulating curbs, a little bit of everything you have to deal with around here. Some corners that drop away from you. Pretty difficult stuff. Even a blind one there right into T1's fairly blind. So this should be a pretty interesting one today, Ron. I'm looking forward to it. And our finale as well.
Yeah, the season finale, so a lot of stuff left to grabs for these racers. As you said, slightly smaller field that we've got here, and one of the Weekend Warriors stables. Series admin here in the Formula V's, Michelle Lynn, is not here. She's actually performing at a music festival right here in the city of Philadelphia. It's right by her neck of the woods here in the city, the Roxborough neighborhood, right by, I believe it's where the Schuylkill Expressway and the Roosevelt Boulevard meet, which anyone who doesn't live in the city of Philadelphia, that's complete gobbledygook. But yeah, there we go. You can see the information there. See, I feel bad because I was going to go there, but as this was a story that I shared with Josh right before we went on the air, folks, and I'll share it with you all here as well. I was thinking that I was going to be on a show later on tonight, and then they said, nope, you don't have to be on the show, you're good. And then I was like, oh, cool, yeah, I can go and attend this festival. And then I got in contact like a day ago, and they said, yeah, so you know how you're going to be doing like 4 or 3 hours on this broadcast? And you said that, yeah, you could do that, and then you weren't going to be doing any. Well, now you're going to be doing a full 6. So this is basically my warm-up before I'm on the air from like 6 tonight all the way through to early tomorrow morning. So may God have mercy on my vocal cords. Hope everything goes well with Michelle Lynn, and we'll probably see her back out on the racetrack come time for the Weekend Warriors virtual runoffs coming up in about a week's time here on SMB, and of course next season here in these V's too. Currently in the midst of qualifying, going to get some of the first lap times on the board, and we're going to be keeping our eyes on Tortello, your presumptive champion, returning to form here in this series. Looking good already in his lap time, but Guido, going to be interesting to keep an eye on him as well, our SMB colleague here.
Yeah, absolutely. Guido has been punching above his weight here this season for sure in the fart machine there. Just killing it, actually. You know, I think last season I said, hey, Guido needs to get a little bit more pointy. He needs to get a little bit more aggressive and really start kind of taking those positions that I believed he deserved at the time. And he's starting to do it now. He's starting to take those positions. He's gotten a little bit pointier in that car. And I think maybe he's realized he deserves to be up front, and that's what happens sometimes. Is Tortello pops in our fastest time, 1:44.289. Jim Brewster, the Masters driver, just behind that with a 1:44.6, and then great value Dan Stasinski drops in a 1:47 in the Walmart sponsored machine. Pretty cool stuff out there for sure. I think the drivers are getting really comfortable sort of in this machinery and with each other, and it's pretty awesome. A little bit bummed not to see a bigger field today, hoping it's always a little bit, the end of the season kind of starts to taper off a little bit. I love to see that the drivers are getting to know each other like this, Ron, and racing so well together. We had such a good season, taking a bit of an off track there, I believe, for Guido. I don't think this one's gonna count.
Yeah, that's heading off through 7 and 8. The section of this racetrack that I think is one of the hardest to nail down, even in these slower Formula Vs. If you drift wide through the first part, it's going to end in tears through the second. But we see Guido rounding his way around the final turn onto this bent and curved start-finish straightaway right now. Will it be a good lap time from him? Tortello at a 1:44.2 is your current provisional pole sitter. Trying to dive around there, cut down right by Barry the Flagman. Comes across the stripe, it's 1:45, but I don't believe that counted because of the off-track excursion. So we will have only a few more opportunities left to do it. A reminder, folks, 4 laps allotted to these racers in this solo qualifying session, and off-tracks do count. And if you pick up an off-track, you're in for a world of hurt. Still looking at qualifying. Here's Andy Middleton, qualified in 3rd right now. Series admin Jim Brewster is set to join Tortello on the front row, who's testing here in a Formula V not too long ago in real life. So certainly he has the upper hand here. But as we're still early on in this broadcast, and Tullo once again improves now to that's a 1:44.144. Funny how that works. We want to thank the sponsor for this broadcast here of the Formula V Weekend Warriors, which is ourselves. Oh no, Josh will shake our own hands here.
I'm gonna shake you down. I'm gonna shake your pockets, flip you upside down is what I'm gonna do. Probably for that one. No, we genuinely love
the full TSA treatment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, we genuinely love doing these Formula V races on Saturday. It is a staple for me. It's something I look forward to every week. So being a part of it, grabbing, hopefully the last round of pretty much every season here, I think we're going to cover. And I think that fits. I think it fits here. I think we love doing this, Ron. And yeah, it's just it's a no-brainer for sure to help Michelle out and help these drivers out. We like having fun with you guys on Saturdays too.
Yeah, we always have a good time on these Saturday Formula V broadcasts. I mean, hell, we've been doing them together now for about a year and a half, which is a little bit disturbing to think about. I don't know how you've been able to remain sane having to deal with minor neurosis every single Saturday, but hey, you live and you learn, and the thanks really do go out to the community, the Formula V community, the Weekend Warriors community all around. One of the strongest, most dedicated. Earlier on the season, folks, we were only covering the Vs, and then it was Dirk Braun and Dirkies Dickles pulling through to cover the rest of the season of Spec Racer Ford action, and Frederick Sorley on FilmBuild.no making the final few rounds of the Formula Ford Weekend Warrior season possible here on Slow Motion Broadcasting.
So good to see it back.
Yeah, it's really been awesome to have a full slate of Weekend Warrior shows back.
We need it. We need it. Doesn't feel right when we don't have it, Ron, to be totally honest. And, you know, we are driver funded and stuff around here, right? So if anybody out there is, you know, thinking about sponsoring a race in the Formula Vs or the Formula Fords or the SRFs, that's how we get it done around here. And, you know, SMB's not the same without those shows, and we want to keep doing them. So, you know, if you have you want to sponsor any of them, get in touch with us, get in touch with Stevie, and grab a race or two for the season. We can't do it without you.
Yeah, absolutely right. If you're interested in sponsoring next season of the Weekend Warriors, you can join the Slow Motion Broadcasting Discord server linked here on the YouTube channel, and you can get in contact with Stevie, Michelle, or Jim Brewster to make the action possible here to show off some amazing drivers and some interesting accidents. As that was Dan Szynski firing it off into turn number 4. That looked like a pretty wild ride there. We have to load up this replay to see exactly what the deal was here.
Sending it. Definitely sending it out here. Oh, such a hard corner, this one, too. I think he probably just gave up there. He's like, ah, darn it. And then, bloop, puts her in the wall. You know, that's probably, I love this track. Probably one of my least favorite corners ever. That one right there. It's not, I never seem to be able to get it quite right. Even when you get it right, you feel like you left something on the table, doesn't it, Ron?
Yeah, I always feel that's... Yeah, unfortunate there for Dan. Now a meatball flag, but turn 4 is always kind of tricky. I would say, with the exception of Druids, turn number 2, it is probably the tightest turn on the entirety of this racetrack, and couple that with the elevation change through it, it is a very tough corner to nail down. So let's see how the drivers manage it throughout this race as Tortello improves on his pole time once again, now at a 1:44.090. Big margin with himself and Jim Brewster, who improved on his P2 time. That's a 1:44.376 for him. Guido Marzucchi slotted in 3rd. Angel Soto, your top qualifier at the moment in Spec 2, as we see Brian Hansen with a few more moments left to go for him in qualifying, as a larger gap to try and close up to himself and P9 of Gary Kittle, as Kittle just improved, jumping up to 1:55.580. But just a few moments left here in qualifying before we can look ahead to the final race of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe we do have some points to get to as well before we get started here. So a couple minutes left. Let's roll those points and see exactly where we're sitting. Maybe we'll start with the S1 points here. And it looks like Tortello, of course, up front with 939 points. So a pretty commanding lead there on Guido Marzucchi just behind him. Like we were saying earlier, punching above his weight this season. So gave him a run for his money for sure. Darmid Toomey just behind that with 687. Andy Middleton in 4th. Michelle Lynn in 5th. Chris Montgomery 6th. Brian Szynski is going to take 7th. Nate Colasio in 8th. Felix Samoas in 9th. Rodrigo Tostes in 10th. And I'll let you guys look through the rest of S1 there. And maybe we can go over to S2. Ron, you can grab this one for us.
Yeah, Spec 2 is really the class to pay attention to as we get into this final race of the season. Here's how it stacks up right now. Jason Grider is your points leader, but Jason Grider is not here. So that is going to open up a good opportunity for some racers behind. Not going to open up for Stephen Westcott because he's not here. Brian Hansen, he is a little bit farther back. So we'll have to see how things work out when it comes to drop rounds. But rather fascinating to see Jason Grider and Stephen Westcott with an opportunity to grab the crown. Not really deciding to show up here today. See, I'm trying to think, is there any major holidays coming up? Easter isn't for a while. We just had President's Day not too long ago. Is there a holiday at the start of March? Am I being an idiot? That's an open-ended question because I usually am. I think everybody just signed to to lay back with Brands Hatch. But either way, that's how it looks with that championship fight over there. And we'll take a brief look at Masters, where things have been very competitive in this class. And here's how it looks at the moment. Jim Brewster, 660 points his present tally, one of the highest points tallies in the entirety of the series. Andrew Love is slotted in second, Nick Tullo in third, Wayne Buttermore in fourth, and Alan Degassis rounding out the top five. As I think, was that Degassis that we were riding on board with that just sent himself off into the fourth dimension?
Yep, it sure was.
I don't know where that car ended up.
He shadow realmed himself, I think, there for sure, on a bit of an adventure just before the race here, but I believe that the counter is counting down here. Oh, we got a couple minutes left here, so yeah, I think we're done our points now, right? We covered all of that, so hopefully we can get a bit of a point update by the end here. I'm going to keep an eye on it, Ron, and see if we can get a final points tally at the end, but I don't think I saw too much there that's going to change a whole bunch. We'll still try to cover it at the end, though, for sure. Tor definitely kind of wrapping up the field here once again. Pretty awesome out there. We did have maybe a couple drivers who were not, didn't participate in enough races as well. Obviously, we do have a little bit of that. We do have some drop rounds around here too, so not exactly sure how that affected it, but it always does affect the season a little bit.
Yeah, always have to consider those drop rounds. It just adds in a little extra oomph and a little bit of extra point of confusion as well for us here in the broadcast booth. But hey, it wouldn't be our job if we weren't slightly confused. I know I'm usually confused here in the broadcast booth. That's probably just down to short-term memory loss. But, we live and we learn, I guess, is probably the other way that we can sum it up. Looking in the YouTube chat, we've got Brian Zazinski in there, Tam in the YouTube chat as well. And looking at Brian saying Joshua created the fart monster.
Yeah, I think maybe I did a little bit for sure. He's definitely been up there pretty much every race, almost since I mentioned that, to be honest. Last season he started kind of getting a little bit more pointy, and it's been fun to watch for sure. It's making the races a little bit more fun. We got another driver up front there trying to figure out what it is they can do to get around Tor by the end of the race, and that's kind of what these races are here, is just trying to beat Tor a lot of the time, trying to figure out how are you going to keep him behind you, or are you going to try to make that jump in front of him? And we've had a few wins this season around him. We've found some people who found his number here and there, and it makes it really, really fun. Some really good racing up at the front from all of those guys.
I like what Tam just said in the YouTube chat, talking about me being confused on the air. It's not confusion, it's suspense. That's good. She's probably talking about the drop rounds, actually, but I'll use that as an excuse for whenever I say a wrong driver's name. It's just I'm adding suspense for the grand reveal. It's like going into a fancy restaurant. They have the little silver tin dome over top, and they only go for the grand reveal just taking off. It's like, here you go. This is a $300 thing of mashed potatoes that's like a quarter of an inch around. It looks like the size of like a half penny, but before they got rid of the actual penny, we had a half penny here in the States, which pretty funny. Josh, I think you'll get a kick out of this. I'll have to send you a photo of this one day. I think I have a Canadian quarter somewhere in the house. Yeah. Old Canadian
got
quarter,
a moose on
with I believe it's Queen Elizabeth's head was still on it at that point in time. So
she's on there still.
To find that we have old coins. We have coins from Bermuda. Dad showed me. I think it was a 10 million mark bill from Germany post World War I, pre World War II, back when the German currency was. That would be a discussion for another day. But for now, let's take a look at our starting grid before I start going down the history of geopolitics here. Currencies. Not touching that one. Let's take a look at your starting grid, where it's going to be Tortello starting this race from the pole position, as he has done throughout a decent portion of this campaign as well. Dominant, really. I think it's a word to sum up his campaign here in Season 1 of 2026. Jim Brewster will join him on the front row, grabbing the pole in Masters in the process. Guido Marzucchi will start in third, with Andy Middleton in fourth. Alan Degassis will start in P5. Next to him will be your Spec 2 pole sitter of Angel Soto. P7 will be Maren Visser. P8 will be Kurt Nunez. P9 will be Gary Kittle. P10 will be Brian Hansen. Dan Zazinski and Nick Tullo complete your first page, and your sixth row with Stevie Ray and Jason Grider, who is actually here running at your field. Jason just not saying a qualifying time. Considering the championship situation, the fact that Stephen Westcott isn't here, I think he just needs a bodily temperature roughly in the 90s to secure the Spec 2 crown.
Yeah, pretty much. There's not a whole lot to wrap up there, for sure. Same with Tor out front here. This leaves an opportunity, I think, sometimes for maybe some of the back drivers who haven't really got a good result and stuff like that. This final race, I always feel like there's something special about the final race for me, and maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me up in my own head, but I'm going to probably join the SRF race tomorrow, and I just feel like maybe there's something there. And there goes Tor. He's going to jump first, so the field is going. We are green. He is, of course, allowed to start as soon as that pace car pulls away, so he does not have to wait for that flag, and he's going to jump. And it looks like he's got a very good jump here as well, side by side behind him with Guido Marzucci and the Masters driver of Jim Brewster on the outside there. Pretty awesome stuff into T1, Ron.
Yeah, awesome stuff here. The green flag's out. The drivers are now on their way out of 2 into turn number 3. Seeing some side-by-side racing going on a little bit farther behind. Drivers trying to squabble up. That's Martin Visser, who we see right now. He's battling with Angel Soto. So already seeing a little bit of tussling go on for the lead in Spec 2 as Visser going to look for it down the inside as they head their way off into turn number 4. Bold spot to go for a move, and sometimes end in tears. That was definitely a bit flirtatious there. Nearly wheel-to-wheel contact, and these being open-wheelers, any small little touch like that's going to end in doom.
Yeah, absolutely. That was pretty much luck. I think they interlocked there for a moment, and they got out of it, basically. That was about as close as you ever want to be, and they're going to do it again. A little bit of netcode affecting them. You can see there live on our cameras. You can see that little bit of netcode push. We're going to stay with this just for a sec, see if we can see it again. And Nunez is going to monopolize on that battle. Great move from Kurt Nunez to see that coming. The 771 also taking avoidance there. Wow, all kinds of stuff happening here midfield, Ron.
It's just a little sprinkling of craziness. Nothing major. We're not going full on like Black Friday shopping yet, but just a faint little bit of confusion when the power goes out inside of a crowded fast food joint. Here's Dan Szynski having a nice little battle go on right behind him. There you can see that's Nick Tullo currently squabbling up with Martin Visser, who after that small little touch off to the mid-sector, he has dropped down like an anvil, pushed into a giant vat of pudding. Tullo is your race leader, though. Guido Marzucchi's been able to jump his way up in a second. Jim Brewster down one spot in third, and Alan DeGassis right in tow. One driver that I will keep tabs on, though, throughout this race is the driver right towards the tail end of that pack, Andy Middleton. I think he's had a very under-the-radar season. A couple of falling anvils have come down on him, but if he avoided that drama, he probably would have been able to get some amazing results.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's always been sort of lurking there in the background, just peering over the shoulders of the front 3 or front 4 drivers pretty much every race here. And yeah, exactly. I think every race I've been, man, that HP car, he could make something happen here. So but it's got to start happening. Maybe he's in that Guido hot seat that Guido was in last season, where you're just not quite ready to start leading races yet. You're not quite ready to start being in that pack, and maybe it's smart, to stay behind it and kind of get that pace first. Sometimes you can have that pace out there. It's hard to tell. Maybe one of these drivers in this pack we're looking at right now is at his absolute maximum, staying in this pack, where the driver behind or in front of him is comfortable, and at that speed. And sometimes you just have to get up to that kind of minimum average speed sort of thing and get comfortable in it, and perhaps that's what's happening with Andy Middleton here. But we will see. We'll see if he can get a little bit more pointy as the seasons go on here, and he's definitely in that seat again.
Yeah, so the battling's still going on out there on the racetrack. We'll break away with something completely different. Brian Szynski asking in the YouTube chat, with the explosive rise in gold and silver prices, does this show the demise of the U.S. dollar? See, I'm not going to say anything about that. I will say there is still reason why I hold on to my Beanie Baby collection. Now, Tortello is still your leader. Alan DeGassis was able to set the quick time last time by, breaking into the 144s. One thing about these Vs that I always find to be quite fascinating is the fact that more often than not, you're going to see faster times in the race than you will see in qualifying, just because these racers do have the benefit of the draft, which even on a tight, twisty, and technical course like this, that is still vital.
Yeah, it absolutely is. We're seeing Stevie Ray here get into a bit of a battle as well, so it's getting a little bit spiky out there for sure. I've seen a little bit of, hey, you're kind of in my way kind of looking moves out there from a couple drivers now, and sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to throw your shoulder out a little bit and go, hey, get out of here a little bit. I think that's kind of what we saw there. Stevie kind of losing out on that one a little bit after trying to make that pass, but now he's got a pretty good view of what's going on in front of him. We'll keep an eye kind of on this midfield battle as well. As up at the front here, I wanted to have another look here, and I'm not sure if we can find it, but I'm going to try. I think we got Martin Visser off track, and this might be during that little section here where they almost locked wheels. It looks like it's going to be. Another, no, I think that was after it, actually. He's going to take a bit of an off track there and lose out pretty bad. Wow, and then this, yeah, that was the one. So, wow, that was some pretty good avoidance there, and unfortunately Martin Visser really losing out on that move. Just a good example of, when a move can go wrong and how much you can lose from it.
Yeah, one small little mistake in these Vs, and it's just going to snowball out of control from there. As Alan DeGassis coming down pit lane.
Oh, no.
I wonder if there's maybe some sort of fuel-related chicanery going on there.
Yeah,
he pulls into his pit stall.
Huh.
That's one thing that we have to consider. After the 15-minute long solo session where the drivers only have 4 laps allotted to them, they do have to consider the fuel. So I think Alan DeGassis may not have put enough gas in his car to make it through to the end of this race. That or some other chicanery going on there. We'll look for further confirmation if he does rejoin the race, which he is now doing. I think that may have been a fuel stop there from DeGassis. That's a costly mistake for him.
Yeah, really unfortunate. Maybe qualifying fuel? Do you run qualifying fuel in these? Like, they have a thimble of fuel in them, you would imagine. But, yeah, perhaps that's what happened, Ron. That's the only thing I can think of. I think you're probably right, man. But really unfortunate then, Sounds like something I would pull off before a race, to be fair. I can't seem to get that fuel stuff right. Too much, too little. Speed in, speed out. Who knows what it is, but I got it wrong so many times last season. Pit stops, man. Not one that you want to make at all, though. These races aren't supposed to have pit stops at all, so that one's going to hurt them pretty bad. Oh, wow, we are real tight here in this pack.
Yes, side-by-side racing going on right behind Gary Kittle. That's Brian Hansen and Stevie Ray duking it out. So this is a battle between 2 Spec 2 drivers and the Masters man in the 911 car looking to jump his way up from 9th into 8th as we take a look at a replay to see some of the squabbling that has been going on, because these racers were duking out before that. They've been duking out really ever since it dropped the green. Here was side-by-side racing. They had their way down the hill at the end of the backstretch into turn 5. Hansen goes for the move on Kittle, works out well. The thing is with these Vs, the draft is still strong, but there's only one major straightaway, and it is the one between 4 and 5. So even though you don't have a heavy braking zone at the end of it, that's still a fantastic opportunity to try and get a move done. As with turn number 1, Stevie Ray looking to maybe clip the coupon and get a 2-for-1 deal done. Into turn number 1, got the spot on Brian Hansen. Thought about it on Gary Kittle, but he's going to remain in tow. Meanwhile, farther up the road, Kurt Nunez and Angel Soto looking to squabble as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Stevie Ray probably thinking better of that one. That was probably a smart, good move there. Very astute of Stevie not to try to push that one into the other move. Brian Hansen's going to be able to get that one back, though. And that's just the way it works out, like you were saying earlier there, or like you were about to say, Ron. The switchback around here seems, seems really powerful. So you get that pass done, and if you don't kind of cover that line off or really get that exit right, it's really easy to kind of get that switchback. As Guido Marzucci here up at the front now, taking the lead of the race from Tortello. So he's been listening to us in that fart monster machine.
And the fart's not drowning out his hearing at all. That is a disgusting thought. Marzucchi holding on to the race lead as we get to the end of the final third of this, the first third of this race, pardon me. Tortello right in tow. Jim Brewster is slotted in third with Andy Middleton, rear gunner of this pack, in fourth. Now, what's going to happen here first? Are we going to see the battle for the race lead start to get intense, or do you think it's going to be the racers behind, the likes of Tortello, Jim Brewster, and Andy Middleton, maybe deciding to battle before Tor gets us moved on Guido? We have seen this go on between these top two before. I mean, they were battling at Okayama, so just once again, another case of that is Tolo proving me wrong, answering my own question right before I even fully finished the question. He goes for the move around the outside through turn number 1 on Guido.
Whoa.
He'll probably have to try and finish it off into turn number 2 as Jim Brewster sticking his nose into the fight too.
Yeah, Tortello with the high, wide, and handsome line, and I love it when I get to say that line, and he pulled that off really well, and he's going to seal the deal right there. So you could see that, that was a bit of a chess move there. It took 3 or 4 steps to get that one done. that really high, wide line that, doesn't work a lot of the time, to be fair, but it worked for Tor out there for sure. He hooked that thing up into the curb and just stepped on it. She held grip, and he was able to hold that. And Guido, also just kind of having to take a bit of a shallower inside line is going to compromise that exit a little bit. Tor being able to use that in the 90 car. So he's going to take that lead, but this is pretty fun to watch for sure because they are going to be going back and forth, I think. I don't think that's the end of that battle up there. We'll try to keep an eye on it as the hot dog car of Angel Soto takes over on Kurt Nunez there. So we got another pass happening back here. Seems to have eased off a little bit, but just behind here, of course, there's another pack of cars that looks like now Stevie Ray and the great value car, Dan Straczynski there. Almost part of this fight as well, Ron.
So still getting intense in these battles. This train that we've got on camera right now with Visser, Kittle, Hansen, Tullo, and Grider. Really the biggest train of drivers we have in this field as Gary Kittle going to run wide heading at turn number 8.
Yikes.
Pop skipping a jump through the gravel. That's going to drop him out, but it's going to cause this train to grow even more. Thought it was actually going to grow there. He has fallen into the crutches of Stevie Ray and Dan Straczynski. Thought that was going to be the bridge of that gap.
No.
As now Stevie coming into the pits as well. Alan DeGassis came into the pits earlier, and he's actually completely decided to call it a day. Stevie Ray coming into pit lane here as well. This is quite bizarre here, unless there's been some sort of change made to like fuel limits or something of the sorts, which I don't think would have been made. I haven't seen any discussion of that unless they decide to just throw us a curveball. This is rather odd. 2 fuel pit stops in the first 11 minutes of this race. Here in the V's, that is pretty much unconscionable.
Yeah, I think it must be fuel as he's on his outlap now from that pit stop. Not exactly sure what's going on there. Perhaps we can get an answer in the chat afterwards there with some of the drivers we'll have, but I'm sure Stevie probably hop in here as well. But really unfortunate for both of those drivers there. Like you're saying, there's no pit stop in this race, and there's really no chance to catch back up after that. You would have to have something catastrophic like we have never seen, Ron, for you to catch up after a pit stop in any way, shape, or form. So he's on a bit of a track day now, but up front here, still fighting. Tor, looks like things have kind of calmed down a little bit for now. They kind of back and forth. We still have a good 20 minutes in this race here, or close to 20 minutes in this race now. So now's when you want to settle in a little bit. You don't want to get too squabbly back and forth, or else, those cars behind you about 9 seconds, to the tune of about 9 seconds here behind them in the likes of Angel, Soto. Will catch up. And it doesn't seem like you could, but, if they start fighting now, there's more than enough time for that to happen.
Yeah, and Brian Straczynski confirming in the YouTube chat that there hasn't been any sort of like fuel limitation change or anything that's been implemented for this race. See, the only reason I said that there could have been something just thrown our way to kind of play us like a fiddle. I remember a couple of seasons ago, Dan Straczynski in the Formula V Discord server was joking that all the drivers, instead of crashing at the end of the race, they would just quietly bring it back to pit lane just to screw with us here on the broadcast. If you said another word, a bit more coarse, that I cannot say here on the air. Well, I can, but I would get in trouble. Don't want to do that with the boss right alongside me here in the booth. But that's the only reason I brought it up, and not seeing that here is Stevie has yet again come down in pit lane.
Oh, no.
Has a black flag this time too. And that was picked up
speeding,
in pit
maybe.
lane. Yeah, speeding potentially.
Bummer. Oh man, yeah. So you're going from worse to even worse there, if that's how you say that. Photographer sitting over here in the corner, just not sure what he's shooting over there. But Stevie Ray out of this one, unfortunately. Yeah, that's a bummer. He was looking really good today. That it was fun to watch some of the fights he was having there, and unfortunately going to take it out. It's going to take him out of this race. So, yeah, unfortunate on that one.
Yeah, deeply unfortunate for Stevie. He was putting together a good drive. Same could be said about Alan DeGassis, but some falling anvils coming down right now. Still have this top 4 that are close. We haven't seen too much tussling between these competitors, but cannot rule it out. We're not even at the halfway mark of this race, and we've already seen Tortello and Guido squabble up. We've seen Jim Brewster and Andy Middleton get involved in the battle as well. It's all just a matter of when you want to go for the lunge. What sort of level of patience do these competitors have? We're at the end of the season, and really all of them aren't really involved in respective championship fights. I think if there was one who's kind of a little bit nervous, it would maybe be Jim Brewster. But even then, his main championship rivals are out of this. I think the only one who maybe feel any sort of championship pressure is Andy Middleton, who's looking to get a good result at the end of this season. So no worries about championship points. Your top two are locked in their position, as is the case with Jim. I'm sure Middleton may be feeling comfortable about that too, considering he is. It's only 3 Spec 1 racers that we've got here in this event. So your top 3, I don't think the championship points are a thought that's popping into their head. They're probably just looking to end this season on a high note and go for all that glory.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. That, like I was saying earlier, I think that final round, just like, at least for me, kind of, especially if you've had a really bad season, it just seems to, it's like, you know what, I'm going to see what I can do on this final round, see if I can't put kind of a stamp on something, see if I can make someone remember me for next season, that I'm here, that I'm still fast, that, I'm not terrible. Or at least that's how I'm thinking as SRF tomorrow, Ron. As we know, I have had an absolutely abysmal season in SRF. I have not finished almost every single race all season. I've been rear-ended, side-ended, center punched, screwed up in the pit lane. If there was something that could happen, it happened to me, and unfortunately had a bad season. Nonetheless, I still had a blast out there. Is that, for me, as long as I'm racing, I'm having fun. I don't like to not finish races. That's pretty much, the worst thing that can happen. But I'm still having fun out there with everybody for sure. It's something I look forward to every week, and hopefully going to have a little bit better luck next season there. But, it can happen to anyone. I've seen many pitfalls for many people. You fall into kind of ruts a little bit, and it's hard to get out of them. And sometimes, the 12th round, the last round of the season, can kind of brighten that up for you a little bit if you go into it with the right mindset.
Yeah, it's a good way to end what could be a poor season off on a good note and hit the ground running come time for the start of season 2. And of course, you'll be able to catch the action here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. Gives you a good reason to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of it. Looking forward to seeing what sort of schedule we have got here too. The Formula V's usually tend to have a blend of whatever the official schedules are doing, mixed with some of the tracks that we've seen be stalwarts and ones that have shown up in the either the Spec Racer Ford or the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors as well. Many of the racers that we have in this series run in either one or the other or all 3 of the Weekend Warriors leagues. So I would not be too shocked if we ended up seeing a track like Aragon up here on the calendar next season, because we visited there for the Spec Racer Fords a little bit earlier on in this campaign. That'd be quite fascinating. Maybe that, potentially Adelaide, that'd be kind of cool there as
I'd love
well.
Adelaide. Yeah, be great.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I just got the opportunity to cover my first ever Adelaide race. It was in Renault Clio Cup cars. Just
Cool.
See, I can't remember whether it was this past Monday or not. Full context, folks. Just this past weekend, it a streak of 29 days in a row in which I had shows every single day. So all the shows kind of blended into one another. It does not feel like week 12.
No, I would imagine. I know, yeah. When you do so many shows too, I don't do quite that many, but I do a fair amount myself too, and they do. You really have to kind of sit down, get your notes out, and be like, okay, this is a V show, and this is who's in this one, because man, oh man, there's a lot to remember. Between a lot of these different shows, which actually leads me to a pretty good transition here. We're going to be having a major championship coming up here, the Grand Prix Tour, on March 9th. It's going to be a 60-minute race. We have the Porsche Cup car, so really stoked to have the Porsche Cup car here on Slow Motion Broadcasting and be partnering up with the Grand Prix Tour, Last 10th and Sphere Analytics and Design to put on a couple races here. We'll be doing those 2 major championships on March 9th and another one on May 18th at Suzuka. Really looking forward to this one. So yeah, make sure you tune in for that on Monday, and we'll check that out. It'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'll be an absolutely awesome event, and we'll be covering another one in May too. So Lots of good reasons to subscribe here to Slow Motion Broadcasting. Have a lot of actions to look forward to. Even this weekend, too, we've got the season finales for both the Weekend Warriors, the Formula Ford, and the Spec Racer Fords tomorrow, and the season finale for XSLR. Now, unfortunately, I will not be on that show, but that'll be at Spa with the F3s. That's going to be some rather fun racing to look forward to here on to SMB as well. But we still got a season finale to talk about here with these FVs. Tolo and Marzuki are your current top two, but they're side by side once again, really peaking at the right time. Your entirety of the top three able to set their personal best laps of the race last time by as well. And Jim Brewster jumping below the 144s there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So this pack's moving then, right? So that means that this pack is actually moving pretty quick together, and that's a great sign. That means they're working together. It means, they're all of kind of the same mind. This is where and how you become, at least in my opinion, once you're up front, this is how you learn to run up front. Jim Brewster, he's always fast. He's always out there. He's got really wide shoulders. He's a good consummate racer. But now he's up in the lead pack, seeing kind of what the lead pack is all about. How do they race? How do they race each other? What kind of speed do I need up here? And like I was saying earlier, when you can get comfortable in that speed and not be up in the 9s or the 10s of your limit, you can be down on the 5s and the 6s, kind of just hanging out, not quite so clenched, but still moving really quick. That's when you start to get kind of lead pace like we're seeing out of Tor and out of Guido here as well. Andy Middleton still just sitting there silently in the background in the HP car, lurking back there. Would really like to see him make some moves here by the end. About 10 minutes left now, so we're getting to that point pretty soon here where you want to start thinking about what move it is you're going to make. How are you going to get around that driver in front of you? What move are you going to pull off here? So I don't know, we'll see. I would imagine things are tightening up, or will tighten up, here in the front, as in the back, that battle we were watching with these cars is really broken up now in the mid and back section.
Yeah, we've got Martin Visser and Brian Hansen keeping each other honest in this squabble for the final two spots inside the top 8, but from there it's a little bit calm at the back of the pack. So I wonder if this is just the natural yin to the yang of what's maybe going to be an intense battle for the final race win and the final podium at the end of this season of action. We've got 4 very talented, very quick drivers at the top of this pack, and once they start squabbling, who knows what we're going to see here. But one thing that I know for certain, Josh, is that there's going to be a sense of urgency in this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think, it being the last round of the season, Guido, Jim, especially Andy Middleton back there, they just kind of have everything to play for right now. Tor's got the season totally wrapped up as well, so he can really hang it out too. So, and that's probably what we're seeing here. Hopefully we're not going to see something too crazy and, people just kind of throw caution to the wind and send it. But I think what we're seeing here probably is some comfortable kind of, drivers that are just comfortable. Final round of the season, not a whole lot to play for except maybe a win. It's kind of a good feeling, in the seat when you're not in the middle of the season going, I could still win this, or maybe there's a chance, I have to be careful, I have to protect my equipment maybe a little more. So it just takes maybe a layer of stress, a layer of tension off, and allows you to be a little bit freer on those pedals and on that wheel.
Yeah, just the freedom to be able to do whatever you want behind the wheel, within reason, obviously. You wouldn't want to, drive into pit lane, run into the flag stand and run over your pit crew. That would just get ugly. A lot of paperwork required in the aftermath there as well. And potentially a stint in jail, too. But within reason, yeah, I would not want that on my record.
No, definitely not. And we've seen, actually, Ron producing some videos these days. We saw a pretty good one you produced there the other day from Paul Tracy, and he did some pretty wild stuff like that back in the day, man. If you haven't seen Ron's other channel there, you should really check it out. That was a good one. One of my favorite drivers out there. And again, I like to say favorite in the sense that he is just a character, right? He was out there, and I like that. Especially in when you watch so much F1, they're just not allowed to talk, and it's kind of stuffy, and nobody really says anything. And then somebody like Paul Tracy comes in and just throws his shoulders out. What's everybody doing in here? And starts making up rules of his own and so on. And that was really fun to watch. During that crew of Indy drivers, maybe some of the best as we're going side by side here. You can plug your channel if you like. County Line, I believe, films, right? A great channel.
County
if anybody,
Line Films.
Yeah, if anybody's out there listening, you should check that one out. A lot of really good IndyCar history and motorsports history and stuff like that. Ron does a great job.
Yeah, if anyone's curious what I do outside of broadcast, it is literally just racing. That's my whole life. This is basically all that I know in the world. I know other things,
too,
but I
yeah.
don't know it better than I do a race car. So, yeah, that's a channel. It's Paul Tracy's 1998 season, which that was a wild affair. He had a fist fight, not fist fight per se, but a shoving match with his boss Barry Green in the final race of the season. Yeah. The funniest part about that, I didn't mention it in the video because I only learned it once I was in the edits. Tracy got a contract extension even after he had a shoving match with his boss in pit lane. You know, that's neither here nor there. Final 5 minutes of this race coming up. We have a side-by-side squabble with Tullo and Marzuki. Thought that Guido was going to try and get the race lead. He tried for it, wasn't able to get the move to stick, but he is still all over Tullo. And this fight is starting to get a little bit more froggy here, Josh, which does make sense considering we are getting into the final few laps.
Yeah, for sure. Froggy, froggy is the word for sure there. Definitely, Guido was leading there for a moment. Tor's going to take it back now. Jim Brewster still kind of just hanging out there. And, you know, if I was him, that's exactly what I'd be doing. You know, I was saying before, he knows these two guys up in front of him here are race winners. He hasn't quite got that tippity top step yet, I don't think, of an overall win. Man, that would be pretty cool for him to get. And today could be it, and he knows it. And he's got to stay in that fight until the last lap. You must buy a ticket to the end of the race. You can't finish it in the middle. And that's hopefully what Jim Brewster's going to do here with the HP car behind him. I would imagine Andy Middleton will have something to say about that by the end of the race. And you can definitely see it, Ron. Those steering racks have tightened up. That gas pedal is to the firewall. You can just see it, the way they're telegraphing their driving now that they know the race is almost over.
Yeah, we have hit the all-gas, no-brake, shake-and-bake, do-it-for-Dale stage of this race. Even the battles a little bit further behind are starting to get a bit more intense, as I may have spoke too soon, at least when it comes to one. Kurt Nunez dealing with some consistent UFO abductions. He's currently battling with your Spec 2 leader of Angel Soto. It looks like those issues may have been taken care of. I thought I had pulled off a terrible commentator's jinx, but Nunez still holding on to P5 right now. This battle will be intense for that final spot inside the top 5, and even right behind that, Martin Visser and Brian Hansen about 5 seconds back in tow. They're going to be battling here soon as well. As here we go side by side, Nunez and Soto come across a straight nose to tail, side to side, and Nunez gonna let him pass. Say, nope, I'm not gonna go side by side heading off through turn number 1. You can go side by side off through turn number 1, but that also applies to the same logic of selling off all your assets, buying nothing but lottery tickets, and coming out on the other end of it being a multi-millionaire.
Yeah, the chances are fairly low, I'd say. And you can see into T1 there just how wide it is and how kind of, it's a very strange corner, honestly. It sort of filters in and then widens up and drops at the same time. And yeah, it's an interesting one. And there's really only one really fast line through it. But on exit, there's a couple, it seems. You can kind of enter it sort of through the same filter, but sort of be spit out into, I don't know, it's a hard one to explain, but it does seem to work kind of outside and inside every once in a while. As we saw there, you know, even just setting up the corner, they look like they're side by side, and then by the time they get to mid-corner, they're no longer side by side. It's such a different line through there. But back to racing here. Tortello, Guido Marzucci, Jim Brewster, Andy Middleton still fighting each other around Brands Hatch on our final round of the season here. Who will come out on top? Not totally sure yet who that's going to be. It could really be any one of these drivers here. 3/10 behind is the farthest there of Andy Middleton, so that can be made up in a lap really easy, and we're getting close to that final lap.
Yeah, we are certainly getting into crunch time. These racers know that side-by-side Tullo withstands the pressure. They're coming to the white flag next time by, so not a lot of opportunities left for the likes of Guido, the likes of Jim, and the likes of Andy to try and get a move done here. So Marzuki, Brewster, and Middleton feeling the pressure right now as Tullo, bit of a wiggle heading out of turn number 2 through the Druid's hairpin. He's feeling some more pressure, but not an opportunity to get a move done. Heading off through the sign twisties in the opening sector. Now, once we get into this back straightaway here soon, if Marzuki has an opportunity, you know that he's going to go for it. He wants this race win. It's been a breakout season for Guido, 3 wins up to this point, but I think he wants to try and make it a 4th. Can you necessarily blame the man? I certainly can't. Looking at him really pulling back. He's going to go for a 2x2 formation, flying into 5. He's going to back out of it. Middleton is not, as he's trying to get past Jim Brewster side by side in that battle for the final podium spot. Jim Brewster, your Formula V Weekend Warriors admin, your current Masters leader, and your presumptive Masters champion, picking up a little bit of gravel on his car. He won't have to worry about post-race weigh-in, because I think his car now weighs about 16 more pounds because of the amount of gravel on the side pods.
Yeah, he's gonna have some grass clippings and some gravel in there now. And honestly, I've been behind Jim Brewster, a few times, and sometimes that's honestly the only way you're gonna get around him. You have to kind of get up beside him. I'm not just saying Jim. That's just like a stiff driver who doesn't like to be passed. Who's very good at getting his shoulders out in a good way as well. No disparagement there at all. But every once in a while, you have to get up the inside of somebody and show them, I'm here and I'm taking this position. You're not gonna wreck my line this time. I'm going to take that line that is mine. I have road position, and I'm taking it. And that's what we saw from Andy Middleton there. We're not 100% sure how copacetic that was. I'm not going to be a steward on that one, but it looked fairly fair to me as we're getting into the last lap. Now Guido Marzucci getting very pointy. Jim Brewster is going to want that position back, and I have a feeling he's coming to get it. So we'll have a try to get both of these battles here now. We've broken up just a little bit here on the last lap.
Yeah, so it's gone from a 4-car battle to a 2-2, but for the first time in quite some time, Guido is not going to be chopped liver on this last lap. He's actually in the catbird seat. Let's take a look at this with Middleton. Brewster making contact through turn number 6. Well, it wasn't even contact. It was just Jim hanging it out on the outside, trying to hold on to that spot for dear life. Unfortunately, it didn't work out well for him, but Guido now trying to jump into the race lead on Tullo as Brewster fighting back once more on Middleton.
Ooh, got it.
Guido is able to get the move done. Turn 5, that prime real estate space to try and get a move done, but Guido still is not out of the woods just yet. Tullo thought about it as they headed their way out of 6 in through 7 right now through the quick little chicane section. Tullo running it all the way out to the edge, off into the grass as he headed his way out of 7, all through 8. Now only one more heave-ho, one more turn left to go.
Gotta hold that inside.
Have to try and go for it. He will go for it on the outside though into turn number 9. This is a tough task, but he's maybe got to try and apply the switchback. Here we go. That was
Guido.
A gutsy move there.
Beautiful.
Look at that. Guido was able to cover it off, and Lestor has a mighty run coming up to the stripe, which he will side by side right to the line. Guido gets the win. Middleton gets P3 by 0.08 of a second. And Angel Soto and Kurt Nunez have their own little battle as well to decide the final spot inside the top 5. Looks like Soto, your Spec 2 winner, is going to be able to hold on to that at the very end unless Nunez closes up that gap, which he is. Less than 0.2 of a second now, coming to a 10th and a half.
It's close.
Not able to pull alongside, so he will finish right in P6 and breathe.
Whoa. Yeah, that was quite the end of that one. Jason Grider here coming across the line. Bit of a track day for him out there, but finished up in 9th, so top 10. Great finish there. Nick Tullo as well coming across the line in 10th. Then Gary Kittle and Dan Szczynski going to finish off in 12th. Wow, what a final lap there, Ron. That was a great one from Guido and from Tor here. Going to have a quick look at exactly how this ended up at the end, and look at that undercut from Tor and that perfect line. Guido saw that coming. He covered that line off beautifully, and wow, pretty awesome stuff here for sure. See if we can't, oh no, we missed the pause there, but wow, really close one there in the end. Pretty awesome stuff, and Guido is going to come out with the win. So I mean, that's sending a message to next season, isn't it, Ron?
Yeah, as much as Guido always talks about the fact that he's the top non-alien here in this series, I think he's approaching alien territory as we have an alien sight of an upside-down Formula V right there in the runoff area heading through turn number 2.
We'll catch up to that.
Dan Szczynski is involved in that as well. I saw that great value Walmart car at
Definitely
the
on his
epicenter of that. So You never grow old of the sight of a Formula V car tumbling. Now, granted, it does give me a headache looking at some of the janky physics, but you gotta crack a couple eggs, make an omelet. Don't want to make fun of iRacing. Last time I did that, my iRacing didn't work out for a week and a half straight, which is exactly why I don't make fun of Windows. Looking at that fart car of Guido Marzucchi, able to grab the W at the end of this. Soft focus, leaving all the competition behind. It was a great drive from him throughout this season. I mean, Guido, it was a breakout. I think it is very, very fair to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Some real good racing there at the end of that one between our leaders for sure. Pretty awesome to watch. Great finale. Great place to finish it off here, I think, too, Ron, at Brands Hatch. One of my absolute favorite places to come and race and to do races or to have races as well. Oh, sorry, I'm just getting actually distracted here. Points are up for the season from our friend Aaron Bray here. Got to thank Aaron Bray a ton for not just doing our points here for FVs, but also for some of our other series too. This is just one of the elements in the racing, that adds to it a lot. If we don't have points to show, it really doesn't. It really adds to it a lot for our audience and stuff. So thank you so much, Aaron, for doing that for us. I'm going to do my best here, Ron. If you want to take over for a minute or two, and I'll load them up so we can show everybody how our season ended.
Yeah, so I'll flim-flam for a bit. This is the definition of juggling chainsaws, because we've got some results to take a look at here for this race.
Get those results up.
I'm also looking at the start of the IndyCar race, which is going on right now. Yeah,
nice.
I'm an IndyCar guy.
Be catching that up later, yeah. Me too.
First time IndyCar's raced at Phoenix since 2018, and
really?
it was Joseph Newgarden, I believe, who was able to grab the victory there. We'll have to see as I will not give any spoilers as to who was able to grab the pole position, but it was a Team Penske car that was not Newgarden's. I think he started a little bit, I think it was right alongside him on the front row, not to think of it. But regardless, I think we'll switch our attention into to going through your race results. Guido Marzucchi grabs the victory over Tortello, slotted right behind him P2. Andy Middleton is in third with Jim Brewster in fourth, winning in the Masters category. Angel Soto will win it in Spec 2 with Kurt Nunez P6 when everything is said and done. Martin Visser in seventh. Brian Hansen will come across the line in P8. Jason Grider will be in ninth. Nick Tullo rounds out your top 10 with Gary Kittle, Dan Szynski, Stevie Ray, and Alan DeGassis completing your drivers classified here at the end of this race. It was a wild one to bring this season to a conclusion. Hopefully all of you tuning into this broadcast here on Slow Motion Broadcasting have thoroughly enjoyed not just this broadcast, but all the broadcasts that we've been able to bring you all season long. And I was able to BS long enough whereby we can now take a look at our final season points. Josh, I handle the race results. How about you run us through our season results?
Absolutely. So Tortello going to take this one with 946 points. Pretty good lead there. Guido Marzucchi going to take this last round, bring him up to 874. Andy Middleton just behind him in third. Darmid Toomey from Team Toomey in fourth. Michelle Lynn, series admin, in fifth. So great result for her this season, taking a top 5. Congrats, Michelle. Chris Montgomery is going to take 6th. Brian Szynski 7th. Nate Colasio 8th. Felix Samoas 9th. Rodrigo Tostes in 10th. Justin Huffman in 11th. We have Jason Chen in 12th. Ethan Orr 13th. Alexander Grossen in 14th. 15th. Trip Isley. 16th. Ken Poulin 17th. Rob Wright. Christopher Serrano is going to take 18th. We shall see if there is any more here. Let's see if we can't scroll this here. Is there some more? Oh yes, there sure is. We got Samuel Perrin in 19th, Thomas Renders in 20th, Sam Chapman 21st, Robin Howitt 22nd, Scott Russell 23rd, and 24th we have David Hunger from Team Hunger. And it doesn't look like they got any points down there, so I don't think they took part in too many races. We'll move on to our S2 points, and Stephen Westcott's going to have 563 points with Daniel Straczynski behind him with 534. So pretty close in the S2 point standings here for the end. Just behind that, we're going to have Martin Visser, Angel Soto, Gary Kittle in 7th, Michael Laturo in 8th, Gary Thompson in 9th, Russell Telker in 10th, Stephen Hicks in 11th, Brett Thompson, Tosha Gorbanov in 13th, Raphael Boli in 14th, James Powers in 15th, Brian Bolensky in 16th. In 17th, we have Charles Rogers in 18th, Edgar Sancinelli 19th, David Tamira 20th is Travis Russell. We'll see if we have any more takers here. Nope, that's going to be the end of that one. So pretty close one in S2 there, Ron. Stephen Westcott going to take the victory in that one. Martin Visser just behind him, so pretty close points in that one at the end. Always pretty tight in the S2 standings. We'll do our last group here in the Masters, and Jim Brewster going to take this one with 686 points. Andrew Love just behind him, missing today's event actually, with a 631 points in second place. Nick Tullo in third, Wayne Buttermore in fourth, Alan DeGassis in fifth, Kurt Nunez in sixth, Stevie Ray falling victim to some probably fueling problems today, I guess, in seventh, Stephen Tucker in eighth, Jorg Mani in ninth, and Brad Cathcart in 10th. And that is going to round out our season, Ron. Some pretty close points there in a few. I think maybe, again, it's one of those things where you have a little bit of participation issues here and there as well. But wow, pretty awesome season to wrap up. And Guido getting a win on the last one sends a message, if you ask me.
Yeah, that was a darn good drive for all these racers when it was all said and done. Some deserved champions too. But let's have a chat with a race winner here at the end of the season finale. It'll be our colleague here on Slow Motion Broadcasting, Mr. Guido Marzucchi, joining us here in the broadcast booth. Guido, welcome in. Congratulations on the victory, man. You were on fire throughout the season. You rounded off with another W. How was it out there?
Oh, it was good. It was a very good race. It's a bummer for the small grid, the low participation, but it's the last race of the season, and in the championship, all three specs, the things were already pretty much sorted out. So I think a lot of people said, okay, I will skip this one. But it was a pretty good race. We had a good fight up ahead with Thor, Jim, and Andy. And in the end, it worked out. Like I said last week, I would have been happy just to make Thor sweat for the win. So I entering the last lap, getting the white flag, I was already okay with the result. Okay, I'm here. I gave you a fair fight, so you're sweating for it. So I'm okay for about this race. But in the end, I had the chance to go by him, and at that point, I really defended hard. On the last corner, kind of anticipated what he wanted to do. I think he wanted to go for the over-under because I was on the inside, he was on the outside. So that corner washes you out if you're on the inside. So I think he expected me to go wide at that point, but I parked the car in the apex. And I gave him a bad exit, and it worked out. So I'm really happy for this season. I'm really happy. It was completely unexpected. It's been a great reason. I got 4 wins. I always gave Thor a fight every race, except maybe VIR when he pulled away and we were just fighting for the other podium spots, but in every other track I was up there with him, and for me that is a successful season, because to be on track fighting with him every single race, it means that I improved quite a bit, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I can imagine. Very, very pleased. Multi-win season, P2 in the points, top of the non-aliens. I made a joke about it during this broadcast, though, that you may be breaking off into that alien category here in the not too far off future. But Guido, looking ahead to next season, what's kind of the thought process heading into that? Are you going to try and kind of shoot for some more consistent improvement, maybe trying to rattle the cage of Tour a little bit, or do you have some championship aspirations in mind, perhaps?
Well, I don't think the championship. At first, I expect Felish to come back. We are waiting for him. We are missing him, and so he will be another contestant for the championship with Thor. So I don't have any championship ambitions. My reasoning is race by race. As long as I have a good fight for good spots, by the end I'm okay with that. Thor is very, very fast. Is almost impossible to try to win a championship with him. If you look at the season results, if I think he raced 11 times, and if he didn't get the win, he got second. So I mean, it's how can you have any aspiration with results like those? But it will be. I know that it will be difficult to have another good season like this one. I had almost no incidents. Only at Barber, I got hit. I think it was Jorg that spun ahead of me, and it ended my race on the last lap. But except for that, it was a good season, a lucky season, not to be involved in any shenanigans. It's also a matter of luck. So I know it will be difficult to repeat it, but I'm enjoying this moment. I'm really enjoying this moment.
Yeah, and rightfully so. It's a fantastic run for you throughout Season 1 of 2026, and looking forward to seeing what Season 2 may have in store. But Guido, as always, well, I'll let you give any thank yous or shout-outs before we let you go.
Yeah, it's the end of the season, so a very big thank you and a very big shout-out to Stevie, Michelle, and Jim for keeping this league together. It's as I always say, it's a great place to be. And if you're watching this broadcast and you're a sim racer, join the league, because it's really a good place to be. It's I'm the proof that is a good place to improve, to improve a lot. I'm proof of that. So because a few seasons ago I wasn't so consistently fast, so I improved a lot just being in this league. And this is the only league, the only races that I run in iracing are these races, except for some special events, some endurance races. But this is the only thing that I do on iracing. So I improved a lot. Pace side and the racecraft side, just being here. So if you're listening and you're a sim racer, subscribe to iracing if you're not already, and join this league. It's really a good place to be.
Yep.
Then thank you to you, especially Josh, for sponsoring this race.
Thank you,
It's always good to have a broadcast on YouTube, and I'm always looking forward to watch the race again, to see what weird things Ron said during the broadcast. And also, as usual, Team Ginetto, Forza Team Ginetto. Next Saturday we will have a 4-hour endurance race in karts. I'll be there. I won't race. I will be the the crew chief of the team, but will be on a real track for some real racing, and so thanks to Team Ginetto, Forza Team Ginetto.
I will say, Guido, I didn't have too much wild and stupid stuff that came out of my mouth here, but I'll have to tell you a story come time for the Spec Racer Ford broadcast tomorrow. It involves lizards and psychedelics. I'll just leave it at that. But thank you for joining us here in the booth, and I will see you tomorrow for the SRF finale.
Bye, guys. Thanks for having me.
Bye, Guido. Good run.
And that right there was Guido Marzucchi joining us here in the broadcast booth. And Josh, I'll have to tell you that story as well once we get off the air here. But pass the mic off to you to have a chat with somebody else. Who do you want to speak to? We got our Spec 2 winner and our Masters champion here. So it's
I think it brings Jim in.
Let's
bring Jim in. He's always a good conversation. Jim is, and I think he's our Spec 2 winner. Is he our Spec 2 Masters winner as well? Yeah, so Jim,
come on, I walk around with a cane, come on.
Excellent win out there today for sure. Got run pretty wide there in one of the corners, getting pretty back and forth there.
Well,
with
he very politely gave it back
Andy
to me, and then then he got me from the last corner to the finish line, which I don't think I would ever make that bet that you could pass somebody from the last corner to the finish line. But he
got
did
you.
It, so
yeah, absolutely.
So the
I
big
was
thing
saying,
to me was,
sorry, go ahead. Yep.
I outqualified Mr. Guido for the first time I think ever. So I'm gonna have a party tonight just for outqualifying Guido.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's definitely, he's been really fast lately, so that is definitely a feat to have. But I was saying during the broadcast there, I've raced you more than a few times, been around you, and not an easy individual to pass at all. And we saw that pretty good today, using your shoulders really wide. Andy Middleton actually pretty much having to almost push you off the track there to be able to get around you. And then you're right, he did kind of give it back a little bit there. But on a track like this, and trying to kind of look forward and look back, we were also mentioning, you're up in the front, racing with the front guys, the fastest guys on the track. What percentage are you at there when you're racing? Are you racing at 100% to keep up with these guys? Or are you starting to get kind of comfortable now?
Well, this track is favorite. I'm really fast through those two cheater corners up top. In fact, I finally figured out, Michelle and I talked about last time we raced here. So we had a Wednesday night race here not that long ago with the V, and we were discussing whether that second cut is flat, and it is. If you get it right, the second one is actually flat, which and that's where I really was flying on people, and I learned I improved my turn 2 a lot from the last time we were here. But I really want to say I really missed having Andrew here. We were 29 points apart for Masters, and he just missed it out. He just missed the start of the race. He was calculating
is that what happened?
Today was daylight savings time.
So
I'm
no,
sad
it's
about
tomorrow.
That
it's tomorrow, Andrew. Oh no, that's too bad.
Anyway, yeah, it's too bad because I was really looking forward to that because no matter how fast I go, Andrew can always match me. And we've been racing for years.
Yeah, that would have been great to watch. Yeah.
Whichever one of us gets a gap on the other, like all of a sudden one of us will be better in a certain car or a certain track. But like by the end of practice or something, the other person's figured it out and we're back to close. But he's been so fast. In fact, really honestly, he's been consistently faster than me this year. But the second half of the year, I think I really did. Maybe I'm just doing better homework or my brain is working better, but I think I've had a really good second half of the season. So thanks to you guys for sponsoring today's race. Thanks for a great season. I'm going to give you a teaser. The one race I've decided we're going to do next season. Are you ready for this? Lime Rock Classic, Light Rain.
Ooh.
Light Rain. It turns
rain,
out it's
so we're
about
bringing
7
rain back.
seconds greasier.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's
it's
a
just
lot.
greasy. Everything still works. We can still go into turn 1, 3 wide into 2 wide. You can still bomb into turn 1 really fast, but everything is just greasy. Every corner you're just wiggling just a little extra. And this, Light Rain, we won't have puddles or anything, and it'll be still a lot of daylight. It's fairly low cloud cover. But this is what we did. Remember we ran Leaden on 2 seasons ago with the rain and we had fun. That was Light Rain. This season, wherever we had rain, it was pretty heavy rain because the light rain was useless there. I can't remember where it was, but so I don't know what else. We'll have to look at schedules. Maybe we'll get St. Petersburg. Maybe we'll get Adelaide. We're definitely going to add something new, at least one new track somewhere. So
cool. Well, we're definitely looking forward to it, and that's a nice little teaser for next season for sure. And maybe we'll wrap it up here. We have
Say hi to Tam. Hi,
Yep,
Tam.
always say hi to Tam. She is out there. She says hi, and too bad for Andrew. Congrats to Jim as well, and thanks to me for sponsoring. So hey, no problem at all. But I want to get a final word from you here, and maybe you can tell us a little bit, Jim. We were talking about Guido as well and yourself about finding speed, and you've definitely since I've been covering these in the last even year or so, have found some speed, and you're up at the front. Perhaps you can tell us what it's like being in a league like this that's nice and supportive, and exactly how you're finding that speed. I would imagine it's coming from your drivers around you and so on, and practicing with them. Yeah.
Well, I use Garage 61 just to check gears and check a lot of things, and then it's just we have all these people that are faster than us. Like Guido, and before it was Jason Green. What was the people faster? And it's just being really, really picky. It's a little tiny details, because I think there's a certain comfort level you get in a certain corner, and you think you've got it right. And the trick is to not settle and keep looking. Keep looking. Like today I found extra speed, not turn 2, but the downhill, that left sweeper. Yeah. I found that that I was losing a couple. We deal in not tenths but hundredths.
Yep,
that magic number on your screen is burned into your brain.
Yep.
And I found out if I was lazy and comfortable, I would lose a couple hundredths there. That I had to just really think mentally, attack that corner.
Right.
And yet the next corner, the big bowl corner up the hill, you don't dare attack that one. That one is be nice to the front tires and get on the gas as soon as possible. And so it's homework. It's homework. It's just little tiny details. Like there's no magic.
Yeah, I'd have to agree for sure. I use VRS, so very similar, and then the same thing. It's about you think you have the track dialed, and you're wondering where is that 2 or 3 seconds coming from, and then you go, and you get into those details. You do that homework, as you put so well there, and you can find that time. And our competitors out there, right, like Tor, in these leagues that we enter, the Weekend Warriors, the Formula Vs. It's where you're going to find that. It's where you're going to find the time. It's where you're going to find the compatriots that are going to be able to go, hey, that thing you're doing into that corner, try this. And you're going to find that 10th, and you're going to find that little spark that you need to keep looking. Like you said, not get comfortable, keep looking. Some great words from you there, Jim, but maybe we'll wrap it up with who you'd like to thank here, and we'll move on.
Thanks, Sam. It was great to have Stevie come join us today. So get ready for next week. Stevie's all kinds of excited. We got a big week, 13 crazy stuff coming next week. That should be a lot of fun. And then we'll be on to season 2. Thanks to you guys. It's so much fun. I totally enjoy it. I go back to watch races that we had last year and the year before and the season before that, because over the years we've put together, between you and us, we've had some classic races.
Holy
and there's
cow,
so
many
fun to go back and revisit them. Some of those battles at Lime Rock.
I want to make videos of all of them, and I just don't have the time. It's I could clip so much, and I just don't have the time. Someday maybe I will go back in that and just go clip crazy, because there's a lot.
Some of them show up on my Facebook memories, and I repost them. Remember that the battle of the War of the Worlds we had with the SCCA boys at Summit Point last season, and it was such a great, the 4 wide finish line, Tor stealing the win right at the finish line.
Stuff,
you can watch that race over and over. It's just like so. Anyway, so be excited.
The racing is real, no doubt.
Enjoy what we're doing here. And that it's out there in history and YouTube, and we'll always, even when we're really old and just teetering around in wheelchairs, we'll be able to go look up these races on YouTube.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, great to hear. Right on. Great final words, Jim. So we'll send you off on that one, and good job this season, and great win today for the Masters class there. We'll talk to you again soon.
Yes, we will. See ya.
Right on. Bye.
And that right there was Jim Brewster, Masters winner, Series admin, Masters champion here. Let's have a quick little chat with our Spec 2 race winner here, Angel Soto, now joining us here on the broadcast booth. Angel, sorry to keep you waiting, but congratulations on the Spec 2 class win here. How was it out there in the hot dog car?
Well, it was a pretty interesting week. I started yesterday in the practice sessions, finding no pace at all. I was struggling to get through the corners, but then between yesterday and today, I started to get the groove of it. Unfortunately, I have a really bad habit, which is I get my fastest laps at the end of a race. But I try to work on that to get them earlier. So it was a really fun race. Unfortunately, we got split up pretty early with the lead pack, but even in that little pocket right there with Kurt, we had some really fun battles. So it was a blast to close out the season for this car. At least for me, it was one of my first attempts at league racing, so I'm pretty happy with my performance overall.
Yeah, I can imagine very, very pleased with the other race that you're able to put together. Wasn't easy as you had battles all throughout, but man, throughout the season we saw you get some good results in Spec 2. What are your thoughts heading off to Season 2 here in 2026?
Well, not gonna say that's definitely going to happen, but a little sneak peek. There are some talks around myself that I may be going to get fast tracked to S1 at season. Not 100% confirmed, but I'm really looking forward to that. If it happens, I think I can, like, I don't know. I would say I'm confident, but I'm not. But I think I can hold my own there. I had some races like on VIR where I got a P2 that maybe showed that I could hang out with the big boys, so to speak.
Well, you know, I will say on the subject of Spec 2 drivers who ended up getting graduated to Spec 1, Josh has had that experience, and
Yep.
I think I could actually fill in the blanks here if I asked Josh for some advice for you. I probably
Sure.
would just be a couple of words, welcome to hell.
Yeah, it can get pretty interesting up there for sure. I ended up back in S2 actually in SRF. Probably have the speed, you know, some days to be in S1, but like I was saying, you got to learn how to hang with the big boys up front, like you put it there, Angel, and it's not easy sometimes. We were talking about it during the broadcast where, you know, it can be 3-4 drivers in a row. One of them's at 20%, you know, not pushing too hard. The other one's at 110%, pushing as hard as they possibly can because they're just not ready for this pace yet. And that's kind of where I found myself in S1 once in a while, up in 6th place or something, just sweating for 40 minutes. So hopefully, my friend, we can get you up into S1 and you'll do well. Some really good driving out there. I just have one question for you, and then maybe we'll get you back to Ron here and let you go. But perhaps you can give us a little bit of insight on the league here and racing with these other drivers and practicing with them and stuff, helping you find some pace out there. Is that what you found as well? Good league, good people, good racing?
Yeah, at first it was pretty intimidating, not gonna lie. People like Thor, like Guido, they are really, really fast and really, really amazing at racing. So it was a really big hit at the start because I wasn't really used to this level of competition, especially on a car like the Formula V that I didn't even know you could drive that hard before.
Awesome. Yeah.
But the community, the help, everyone, Michelle, Brian, Jason, all the guys, especially the organizers as well, Jim, Civi, they are all really helpful with the newcomers. And I could say a lot of words, but I should just say, if you are hesitating to join us, don't, because you'll find out that you will really have a blast, even if you are racing for P20 or for P1.
Awesome. Yep, that's couldn't have said it better myself, Angel. I'll pass you back over to Ron here, and we'll finish it up. Great race today, man.
Yeah, an awesome drive for you, not just here, Angel, but all throughout the season. One last question, as always. Anybody you want to give a thanks to or shout out before we let you go?
Well, thank you, Joshua, for sponsoring today's race. Thank you for the coverage as well throughout the entire season. Thank you to the guys organizing the league, and thank you to all the racers that have given me such amazing battles throughout the season as well. Looking forward for more.
Yeah, and thank you as well, Angel, for joining us here in the booth. Well done on the Spec 2 class win, and we hope to see you back out there on the racetrack come time for the start of Season 2. And that right there was Angel Soto joining us here in the broadcast booth. Spec 2 class winner here in the season finale. Josh, man, we had one heck of a ride, and this was the antithesis of a fantastic season.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one, is what I'd say as well. The Formula V Weekend Warriors always delivering awesome races, an awesome league, awesome camaraderie between everyone there. And, you couldn't get a better better promotion there from some of our drivers here today. If you're hesitating to join the Weekend Warriors in any fashion, whether that be the FFs, the SRFs, or the FVs that you're seeing right now, don't hesitate. This is going to be one of the most fun things you are going to find on iRacing. It really does bring the immersion to life. You will find speed, you will find friends to race with, and yeah, I mean, you heard it here first from Angel and from Jim and stuff as well. Just some awesome racing out there, and a great way to wrap up the season. Thanks to everybody out there watching. Thanks to you as well, Ron, my booth partner here, doing an amazing job here around SMB. I couldn't do it without you, man. Your voice so strong and powerful on all of our shows. It's awesome. We can't thank you enough around here. So thanks for the season, Ron. I'll hand it off to you. Have a good one, buddy.
Yes, it was great. I could ruffle the voice up just a little bit to turn into a broadcaster's voice because I was always so high-pitched as a kid. I started gargling boiling hot water, and look where we are now. So have a lot of action to look forward to here on Slow Motion Broadcasting, though. Rest assured, we got the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors season finale at Lime Rock Park on the Wish chicane layout. That'll be intriguing. Tomorrow, Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors action will be at Lebanon for the final race of that season. XSLR will be at Spa for the 20th race.
Ooh, yeah. I'll be on that
the
one.
End of their 10th season of XSLR action. The Grand Prix Tour will be broadcasted here on Slow Motion Broadcasting this upcoming Monday, March the 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Stay tuned to see all that action. We also have the season finale for Liberty Bell coming up next Sunday. Bit of a quiet week here, but we also have the other Weekend Warriors runoffs coming up. Some intriguing notes about that event, and we'll certainly run you through it. And of course, we always have American Muscle Series action here on Slow Motion Broadcasting too. Gives you one a heck of a reason to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of the racing action. What could be said about the Weekend Warriors community? What could be said about these Formula Vs? I'm trying to think now. I'm starting to lose track. This may very well be my 8th season covering action. Let me think. Season 3, 4, 6, carry the 5. The seventh season covering action here in the
Awesome.
Formula V Weekend Warriors here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. This was the first series that I ever got to cover here on SMB. First ever show that I did here was with Tim Cox all the way back in July of 2024. So look how time flies here on SMB. Want to thank you all for making these broadcasts possible. We have action, we cover the action, but really the action would be meaningless if we didn't have eyes looking at it, either tuning in live or tuning in post. We always dearly appreciate you, the viewer, making SMB the wonderful community that it is. But for one final time here in season 1 of 2026 for the Formula V Weekend Warriors, that will just about do it. So for myself, Ron Maunz, and Josh Wilkie, working the comms and the cams with me all season long here in the broadcast booth, I say thank you all so very much for tuning into the action here on Slow Motion Broadcasting today, and we hope to see you all wherever it is in the not too distant future.